So, we're going to talk about how to figure out theme. Now, one of the steps, E, stands for edit. Right here, where it says check your writing, this is how one way you can check your writing. Cups, C, capital letters. Do you have your capital letters? Some people forget that. It's an easy thing to forget. Double check. Does it make sense when you read it back to yourself? P stands for punctuation. Punctuation as in, are there periods at the end of every sentence? And S stands for spelling. Double check your spelling. These are all of the steps that you have to follow to find your theme. The first step is S for subject about life. Now, what is a subject about life? The way we're going to go about this is we're going to start really vague, really general, and then we're going to narrow it down. So in order to, find a place to start, we're going to find a one-word subject about life. Things like love, luck, friendship, sadness, happiness, conflict, unity. These are all subjects about life. Now we're going to pick one, and then in the next step, we're going to narrow that one subject about life down just a little bit. In each step, we're going to narrow our focus a little bit. Our next step is C. C is character lesson. What did the main character learn? The main character learned that blank. Fill in the blank. If our subject is luck, then we know our character lesson is something about luck because we're just narrowing that down. That's all. So 2B has a sentence frame for you to use. The character learned blank. The character learned blank. What did the main character learn as a result of the story? The third step is the reader lesson. What did you learn? Instead of saying the character learned, now you're going to say I learned that blank, and you're going to tell me what you learned from reading the story. As I said earlier, step 4 is E for edit, and that's when you go through the steps and just in general double check that you have everything that you've double checked, that you've taken that moment to double check that you have a capital letter in the beginning of your sentence, that any names or specific places are capitalized. When you read it out loud to yourself, and I mean actually take a second, read it out loud. Does it make sense to you? If it doesn't make sense to you, take a second to rewrite it so it does make sense. Is there a period at the end of your sentence? And did you use spell check if you're on Google Docs? Now 5 is the very last step. Almost. A is, does this apply? A stands for apply. Does it apply to everyone? Could any person relate to this? So previously in step 3, you said, I learned that. Before 3, you said the character. I don't want to hear about the character in these last 2 steps. I don't want to hear about you. Now I want to hear about what lesson can be learned from this story that could apply to everyone. So now we're going to take it that one next step to say, this is the lesson from the story that could apply to anyone. And 6 is the final message, and that's where you take your reader lesson from step 3 and take out the I. Because again, our theme is not about you. It's about a lesson that anyone could learn from reading the story. So if I said in my reader lesson that I learned that life can be unexpected, but you should not give up, in my final message, I would take out I learned that. And instead, I would just have the section in blue. Life can be unexpected, but you should not give up. And that would be my theme. These are all of the steps that you would go through. And don't forget, your final message, your final theme has no I. You don't have the word I in the sentence because it's not about you anymore. And, these are the steps that you would go through in order to find your theme.